Welcome everyone to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video, I am going to be doing a preview of D&D BECMI's Master DM's book. So this is the second book in the two-book set that comes in the Master's box set, and uh, really my first time digging deeper into this because back during this time frame, I was uh, I was either running or still playing AD&D First Edition. So this came out in 1985. So yeah, I was deeply into AD&D First Edition, and BECMI was something that I had moved from probably around, I want to say around 83. So when it first came out, um, I had the red box, and I utilized the red box, but I was still using Moldvay at the time as well. So, but I have them all now, and I have run in recent years uh, two D&D BECMI campaigns. One lasted about 8 months, and the other 10. So I have a little over a year and a half time running D&D BECMI in these last several years again, and then as a player as well. I was in quite a long campaign with a dungeon master of mine, Ivan, who ran it, and we had a great time in that campaign as well. So, yeah, I really do strongly encourage you to dig back, especially to the BECMI series of Dungeons and Dragons booklets, because they are, in my opinion, they are probably the best way to introduce new players to tabletop role playing in general, and to Dungeons and Dragons in particular. So, without further ado, let's start taking a look at the Master DM's book for Dungeons and Dragons. Now, as always, as I keep on saying, I will be using a PDF found online from the archive. I believe this is from the archive site. Um, but I do have the physical copies, and if I'm running a game session, I will always have the physical copies at my table or even at my desk if I'm playing virtually, and then also have the PDF available as well. I like to have both because sometimes it's easier to find things in here um, if you don't have a fully functioning PDF where you can search for keywords and such like that, or if it's not hyperlinked for its different parts. But I just like having physical books in my hand too. So that's just kind of old school of me, I guess. But anyway, let's go right into the PDF and start taking a look at what the Master DM's book actually brings to the table. Again, this is just a preview, so I'm not going to go really super in depth on anything. If you want me to dig even deeper into this, then certainly leave a comment in the comment section. Hey, can you go over this section in more detail? And I certainly would. As a matter of fact, going back to this whole series is based on a request that was made by a subscriber, on an older video. I think this was originally, I put this out about 6 months ago or so. No, I'm sorry. This one was like 2 years old. Mothership was 6 months ago, and I will get back to Mothership as well. So I do respond as quickly as I can to requests, and this is by request. So I hope this is the actual book that he was talking about that he wanted me to go over. So here we go. So this starts off with, all right, a section on the known world. So you're going to have some world building in this particular book here. All right, and so we have the known world, and this is the one half of the map, and then the other will be on the other side. Interesting that this particular print here is stamped, so from the library there. But here we go. So the table of contents, and you can see right from the start, and this is compiled by Frank Menser, who I'm going to see in January, hopefully at page 2, which I'm doing an interview tomorrow, and we'll talk all about that as well. But this goes right into procedures, right? So most of this book is actually dealing with procedures, and these are the Dungeon Master's procedures. So procedures for anti-magic effects, character notes, dispelling magic, dominion income and XP, encounters, experience values, point values revised, hit roll charts for monsters, immortals, intelligence, mystics, reality shifts. All right, I'll actually focus on that one a little bit. Record keeping, spellcasters, non-human, and undead lieges and pawns. So, and then we go into monsters section, which is about, if I'm doing my math right, it's about 18 or so pages of monsters from the prime plane, other planes, and other monsters, and then artifacts. In creating artifacts, artifact characteristics and powers, adverse effects, and the known artifacts of of the known world. So we will continue on in here. So anti-magic effects, magic can sometimes be weakened or altered so that it is canceled or functions only partially. This phenomenon is called anti-magic. Anti-magic is stated as a percentage chance that magic will not work within a given area. The first encounter with anti-magic for most PCs occurs when they confront a beholder whose central eye projects an anti-magic ray. This ray's AM value is 100%. Magic will not work within the ray. Some very rare creatures, notably immortals, possess partial or total anti-magic. Why AM exists? Anti-magic results from differences between life forms native to different planes of existence. Magic native to inner planes of existence, the prime, ethereal, and elemental planes function best when used on creatures and things native to those planes. Creatures from other planes are not made the same way. All creatures native to the inner planes are made of components of 4 spheres of power: matter, energy, time, and thought, and are all governed by the sphere of entropy, or death. But creatures of the astral and outer planes lack one or more of the 4 components and may avoid most effects of death as well. Magic affected: when AM is used as an attack form, such as a beholder's ray, it is powerful enough to cancel the effects of all forms of magic, including permanent items. The instant a magic item is moved out of the ray, it regains normal power. Anti-magic radiated by a creature is slightly different. It is sporadic and only affects temporary magic. Temporary magic includes all spells, potions, scrolls, wands, staves, and rods. All effects produced by permanent magic items, such as the haste effect on the Sword of Speeding can produce, are also temporary effects subject to dampening by anti-magic. If no percentage is given for an AM effect, it is 100% and affects all magic within the area noted. Otherwise, each temporary magic item or effect must be individually checked for cancellation of its power as soon as it enters the AM area. AM is checked each round by rolling D100. Once an effect is negated, it remains canceled for the entire encounter. A magic effect is canceled if the result is equal to or less than the given AM percentage. All right, and I'll go into more detail, but so you can see there's quite a lot of time being spent and words being spent and theory being expressed here with anti-magic. So it is a pretty important section of this Game Master's book. Character notes, so ability scores and saving throws. Strength modifies saving throws versus paralysis and turn to stone. Intelligence modifies mind attacks. Wisdom modifies saving throws versus spells and staves. Dexterity modifies saving throw versus wands and dragon breath. Constitution saving throws versus poison, but not death ray. And charisma, no bonus to saving throws. So this is just categorizing the attributes to the different types of effects and what those attributes would modify saving throws for. Get into a whole section on creating high-level characters. So this is like right from the start. If you're looking to create a 25th or level, higher level character right from the start, this is giving you all of the guidelines for doing that. Magic item price ranges here for those things. Yeah, you'd have to go because not everyone wants to bring their characters from from first level to 25th. I can certainly understand that. I think that within reason, you're going to sit down with your dungeon master, and the player and the dungeon master are going to craft your character. To where it doesn't take you a ridiculously long time to actually create it, and then give it the equipment, give the character the equipment that is most likely something that your character would have accumulated over the course of those 25 levels. We have a section going on to dispel magic, and I'm not going to go into detail with that here. Dominion income and XP. PC rulers may gain XP through rulership by collecting resources and tax income from the peasant subjects, and so this will actually modify the amount of automatic XP that they're gaining just through receiving taxes or tithes or whatnot. From their own domain play. They might own mining operations and such. I've actually done this in my D&D campaign where the player characters owned a copper mine, and that copper mine was generating a certain amount of wealth for them to kind of maintain their private chateau and its servants and whatnot, and plus their stronghold that they eventually had as well. And so, but I wasn't translating it to giving them XP. That would have been an interesting thing to consider as well. Would have certainly pushed them forward in their levels. They were all between levels 9 and 11. Yeah, they would have certainly pushed into the 10s and 11s for those 9s, and probably up to level 12 or possibly 13 for some of the others. But anyway, so encounters. This section provides several guidelines and systems developed through years of playing to help you run a better game. So goals for your encounters. This topic is the most important aspect of your D&D games. Goals gives the players and the DM something to strive for and provide, all with the sense of reward and accomplishment once completed. Without goals, the most exciting adventures imaginable are just simple exercises. The best and longest running D&D games are those that have definitive objectives. Without a greater purpose, players quickly lapse into boredom. A question that a DM must answer for everyone is, why are the characters adventuring? The Dungeon Master should offer several levels of goals and several options for each goal. By presenting possible goals, the GM can keep control of the campaign while leaving freedom of choice in the hands of the players, where it should be. Here are some levels of goals to consider. The campaign goal has a very broad purpose, usually involving the fate of a nation or an entire world that ties together all of the adventures happening in the campaign. This goal creates the major struggles of the world. Your campaign goal might be to bring peace to the world, or to crush an evil empire, and so on and so forth. Now remember, this is in the book talking about high level adventuring, level 25 plus. So, but you're going to still have these campaign length goals, even for your starting out characters as well. It just might be a little bit more vague and undeveloped as it's going along. You as a dungeon master might not have a full grasp of what the campaign is going to become ultimately. And this has been my personal experience as well for some of my longer campaigns, and this would be my AD&D 2-year and 2-month long campaign that really developed its its goal and its tone, and all of the adventures that took place from it, very organically and very much driven by player action, and then their expressed desires of what they wanted their characters to do. But once it gained that kind of underlying goal that I had for the campaign, it really did start to come together. And as they got towards the end, and the end was kind of fluid too, it just fell into place where we decided as a group that this is going to be the end of this particular segment of those player characters' adventures. But we will someday. My hope is someday to return to those characters and pick up that next level of gaming for them. So they will be the high level player character party, and we'll start tackling some new sets of goals. And maybe this book will actually help me craft some of that. So he talks mostly about campaign level and domain level adventuring. Changing monsters. I always like changing monsters a little bit, tweaking them a little bit so that they're not, I have very experienced players, and they kind of, they know what most of the monsters can and cannot do. So throwing them little curveballs is always something that I enjoy doing every once in a while. Balancing encounters, monster reaction charts. I usually don't do these random monster reaction charts. I just kind of have a feel for it, based on how things are going during combat, and then I decide. I try not to have every monster fight till the death, unless it is very unintelligent or super aggressive and evil. But otherwise, having creatures or monsters not fight to the death is actually, I think, a pretty important thing for you to integrate as a game master. for the players to actually deal with. Oh, geez, we have to capture this person now, and we have to, figure out how we're going to maintain the control over this, this whether it's an NPC or a monster or whatnot. And my players have done both. I mean, my players have, taken in an orc and, um, you know, taken captives, bandit captives and such. So high charts, the hit charts for all monsters, and it goes all the way up to level 35. So a level 35 and up monster only needs a 14 to hit an AC of 19. Um, and only a 1 to hit an AC of 0. So, yeah, and here we go with the minuses now. Um, armor class hit minus 20. A 35 only needs a 17 to hit negative 20. All right, so yeah, 17 is not. It doesn't seem like a negative 20 is a ridiculous armor class. Immortals in the game, immortal manipulations, and I dabbled a little bit with this in that long campaign that I had run. Um, that became the whole thrust of it. Was an archlich was looking to become a demigod, and the players' actions kind of led to that. Unbeknownst to them, it was kind of a manipulation throughout their 2 years worth of adventuring. Probably one of my favorite nemesis that I've created. Four paths. So we have the Dynast. This is the root of Sphere of Time. This path favors cleric classes. The Epic Hero. This favors the Thief class. That's interesting. The Paragon. This is going to be favors the Magic user class. And the Polymath, which is the Fighter class. Okay. Intelligence and creatures. So you can see, I mean, there's a lot here. Wow, there's a ton of. Oh, this just tells you the intelligence levels of various creatures. That might be interesting. That will come into play when you're doing morale checks and things like that as well. So I like the fact that they do have it kind of listed here, so you kind of know the difference between low, medium, high, genius or whatnot. You'll start to see things with very, very high intelligence as opposed to those with very small intelligence, right? So I'm not seeing like an intelligence of 11 is pretty high. 12 here, aerial servant. 13. Let's see. So I mentioned I have various lycanthropes here. I was looking for Lich, but it's not here. Vampire 10, although they could be higher. Martial arts, so a section on martial arts here. Oh, that's for the mystic. Mystic level weapons and equipment. Record keeping. So this is always a big thing here. So let's talk about record keeping and time keeping. A DM can keep a firm grip on game events if always aware of the exact game time. Many effects have given durations, and all actions take time. While PCs stroll about dungeon corridors, NPCs and monsters may be busily engaged in their own affairs, some of which may affect the party, but when. Good records of actions taken help organize timekeeping during a very active encounter. You need to keep track of the duration of effects, movement, and so they're talking about timekeeping in the moment, let's say. So during the combat rounds and during the dungeon delve and whatnot. The timekeeping note sheets can be discarded after the adventure is over, but the DM may wish to make permanent notes of dates and places of unusual or disastrous events, encounters, and other details. And here's your time tracking that you would use. I'll take a look at the records. So here we have record cards. So the character card, and this is super basic, right? You don't need more than this to keep track of your characters. Let's see what other cards we have here. All right, so this is a turning table. Here's the long list of monsters. I'm going to skip over this here. And sorry, I have to scroll like this. I'm looking to get to the end where we just have any of the charts and cards and such that would be useful to have at your table, if they do have more of them in here. I'm going through magic items and probably artifacts section, and here is the back of the booklet. All right, so there aren't any templates or anything like that for those, but here we have the second part of the map of the known world, and there. So I mean, there's a lot here. I'm going to switch views now. There's a lot in here that you know, a wealth of information, a lot of things to keep in mind. You know, if you're kind of theory crafting, building a high level campaign around as well. So a lot of interesting things for you to keep note of as you're going through this. And you know, I really do like the fact that it focuses on those elements of anti-magic and dispelling magic, and then it goes into the domain play of, you know, what are all the things happening in and around the player characters, you know, either their direct actions or even their indirect actions, and the fact that everything, the world is still moving forward. And that's something that I really try to emphasize in my own games, is that, you know, especially when we're doing long campaigns, that you know, the world is a living, breathing place. And when you have your players in a dungeon, remember, you know, the monsters aren't just standing on the other side of the door waiting for that door to open up. They are going about their regular daily business as well. And you know, and so most monsters, most encounters in a dungeon complex, let's say, should really be wandering. You know, they shouldn't just be sitting there in place or whatnot. Or even if you have, you know, a room that has two different parts, you know, there's not going to be, you know, 5 in this room and 3 in that room. You know, there might be some flow in between the two. You might end up as a dungeon master deciding, I'm going to put them all in this room, or, you know, only 2 of the 8 are going to be in this room, and then the other 5 are going to be elsewhere, and then 1 is not even in this space at all. Maybe the 1 is in a different part of the complex, or walking in from behind the player characters, you know, and you're just going to make it as fluid and as alive as possible when they're going into a complex or a dungeon or whatever you happen to have them in a lair, let's say. So yeah, a lot of really interesting things that are in here. Some things I'm reading for the first time myself, and so if you're much more familiar with it, or if you look through the sections that I kind of highlighted, if you want more detail, just leave that in the comments section below. I thank everybody for joining in and watching. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Hit the like and share, and definitely leave your comments in the comments section. And remember some of the things that are coming up on the channel. So tomorrow I will be doing an interview. Ron from page 2 at 1 o'clock Eastern time. And then later on this evening, I'll probably do another video as well, just kind of catching up with some of the requests or some of the things I had been covering. I might do some of the other books from the Mothership Kickstarter box set that I picked up, and was asked to take a look at that. So maybe that will come out later on this evening as well. So as always, enjoy the rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen or at a convention sometime soon. And just keep on playing out there. Keep on exploring game systems that you've never played before, both old and new. Explore different genres of games that you've never, dabbled in those genres before either. Just experience as much of the hobby as the hobby has to offer, and you'll get that much out of participating in the tabletop role-playing hobby. You'll have a great rest of your day, and take care.